coming back, I'm coming back around. You ain't going nowhere, so put your jacket down. They might take me away, but guess who's back in town? Look how I'm feeling, graduated with no cap and gown. I said I'm coming back, I'm coming back around. You ain't going nowhere, so put your jacket down. They might take me away, but guess who's back in town? Look how I'm feeling, graduated with no cap and gown.
So take me away, take me away. I don't wanna grow old, I don't wanna go astray. If I could go back, I wouldn't change shit. I would give them the finger, like fuck this. Now I'm packed up my bags, time to hit the road. I'm down with the Irish, where's the pot of gold? I guess it's all done, so I'll throw away the past for the search of the pastures with the greener grass. Now I'm looking at the bottle like I need another glass. Now I'm looking at the sky like I need another chance. I'm sprinting for your love, so it's a mad dash. And our hearts hit together like boom, boom, crash. I emerge from the scene, I look back on the rubble. I look back on my life, then I take like a double. Take me to a place where the sun always shine. I guess Nas was right and the world is mine. Like
I said I'm coming back, I'm coming back around. You ain't going nowhere, so put your jacket down. They might take me away, but guess who's back in town? Look how I'm feeling, graduated with no cap and gown.
What's going on, guys? Manish here. So in this video we'll be taking a look at on installing Mac OS X 10.9 final build on our PC. So let's get started. Alright guys, so the very first thing that you'll have to do in order to run the Mac OS X 10.9 on your PC is that you'll have to download these two files over here. Now the direct link to both these files are there in the description below. So once you have downloaded these two files, go to the first file over here and right click on it and run as an administrator. And then you'll be presented with this screen over here. And once this window pops up, just hit on next, choose typical and hit on next again, uncheck the options over here and just hit on next, and that should basically start installing the VMware application onto your PC. So just wait till the whole process gets completed. Now the next thing which you'll have to do here is you'll have to go to the second file over there that says OS X Mavericks, and inside it you'll find a zip file. Just right click on this zip file over here and hit on extract here. So that should basically start extracting the OS X Mavericks folder onto your computer. So just wait till the whole process gets completed. So now once you're done extracting the file, you'll be presented with this folder over there that says OS X Mavericks 10.9 Retail VMware Image. Now go to the folder and inside it you'll find 3 more folders. Go to the third folder over there and go to the VMware 8.x folder and then choose Windows. Now inside it you'll find 3 files over here. Go to the first file and run it as an administrator. So now it's very important that you run these files as an administrator, or the patch thing, it just won't work. So just make sure you do that. And once you're done with that, go to the third file over there and run that as an administrator too. So now just go back to the main folder and you'll find the second file over here, that is the hardware virtualization. Now this particular folder is mainly for those section of people who get an error message saying that the hardware virtualization has failed on their computer. And I have shown a way to fix that problem at the end of this video. And if in case you don't get this particular error, you're free to skip this folder. So now with that being said, let me just go ahead and run the Mac OS X on the PC by going to the first folder which says OS X Mavericks, and inside it you'll have to run the file which says osxmavericks.vmx. So just wait till it loads up. So once the VMware application gets loaded up, go to memory. And then over here you'll have to specify the amount of RAM you'll be allocating for the Mac OS. So in my case the recommended memory over here is 2048 and I will enter in the value over here. So the basic idea over here is that if in case you have got like 8 GB of RAM, you would be allocating around 4 GB to the Mac OS, and if in case you have got 4 GB of RAM, you'll be allocating around 2 GB for the Mac OS. So once you have specified the amount of RAM you'd be allocating for the Mac OS, you could go to the other options over here and you could just leave it as default. And in the sound card section, the sound card works by default, and if in case it doesn't, you would probably want to manually set the sound card option over there. But as of now, I'll leave it to the default field and hit on OK. And then you would want to power on the virtual machine. So now as you can see over here, the Mac OS is getting loaded up, and since this is our first time that we are loading the Mac OS, it would take probably around 5 to 10 minutes for the whole process to get completed. So just wait till it gets completed. So once you're done with that, you'll be presented with this screen over here. Choose the location and hit on continue. And over here choose the keyboard layout, hit on continue. So if in case you have got an Apple ID, you can sign in with that. I'll just skip this step as of now. Hit on agree, and then over here you'll have to enter in your name and the password. So let me just go ahead and type in my name. And once you're done with that, hit on continue. Now over here you'll have to select the country where you live in. So I live in India, so I've got India selected over here. And once you have selected the country, hit on continue. Don't register. And as you can see over here, it's setting up the Mac OS for us. So now as you can see over here, the Mac OS X gets loaded up. And if in case you want to go to the full screen mode, what you'll have to do is you'll have to go to view and then go to full screen, and then go to view again, and then choose exclusive mode and hit on enter exclusive mode. Now if in case you guys want to remove the black bars which are placed at the left and at the right hand side of the screen, I will show you that in a minute. But before that, I will just show you the version which I'm currently running in. So now as you can see over here, I'm running the Mac OS X 10.9 final build. So now if in case you guys are wondering on how to remove the black bars which are placed at the left and at the right hand side of the screen, the way you could fix that problem is you'll have to download the third file which is found in the video description inside the Mac OS. So I repeat, download the third file which is found in the video description inside the VMware. So the way you could do that is open up your Safari browser and head over to my channel, that is youtube.com/videoorchard. And once you're in my home page, hit on videos and then click on the video which says install Mac OS X 10.9 on PC. So now once the video starts playing, click on the third link which you can find in the video description, and you'll have the file downloaded inside your Mac OS. Alright guys, so once you have downloaded the third file which is there in the video description, in order to install it, go to System Preferences and then choose Security and Privacy, and then you'll have to click on the lock option over there, then type in the password and hit on unlock, choose anywhere, allow from anywhere, and relock it. So now we can go ahead and install the downloaded file. So go to the download directory and hit on install VMware tools. Hit on open, and then this window should pop up. Hit on continue, choose continue, choose the hard disk and hit on continue again, install, and type in the password over here. And once you've typed in the password, hit on install software, continue installation, and that should basically install the VMware tools onto your Mac operating system. So just wait till it gets completed. And once it's done installing, just hit on the restart button over there, and that should basically restart your Mac OS. And once you're in the desktop, go to System Preferences and choose Displays. And over here you'll have to choose the resolution that suits your screen. Now the problem which I personally faced over here was that my resolution was not listed in this particular option over here. Now the way I fixed that particular problem is I shut down the Mac OS. So let's go ahead and shut down the Mac OS. And once you're in this screen, go to Displays, and over here you'll have to choose Specify Monitor Settings, and over here you'll have to specify your custom screen resolution. So in my case it happens to be 1366 into 768 resolution format. So once you have set the resolution, just hit on OK and try to power on the virtual machine. So now if in case you guys are stuck up in a Apple boot up loop, the way you could fix that particular problem is you'll have to go to Display and then make sure you have got Accelerate 3D graphics check marked over there. So that should basically fix the Apple Infinity boot loop problem. And now once you're in the desktop, go to View and hit on Full Screen, and go to View again and choose just choose Exclusive Mode and hit on Enter Exclusive Mode. Now go to System Preferences and then choose Display, and over here you have got your custom resolution over here. So just select that and you'll have the full screen loaded in your Mac OS. So the next step is only for those of you who are facing the hardware virtualization problem, and the way you can fix that particular problem is by going to the downloaded folder and go to Hardware Virtualization Bypasser and copy the patch. So just go ahead and copy this particular patch over here and go to Start and then go to Computer and then go to your C drive. And if you're on a 32-bit computer, go to Program Files. Since I'm on a 64-bit computer over here, I will choose the x86 and then search for VMware. Go to VMware Workstation folder. Now if you're on a 32-bit computer, just paste the patch over here. Since I'm on a 64-bit computer over here, just go to the x64 folder and just paste the patch over here. So just go ahead and paste the patch and run it as an administrator. And then hit on Apply Patch. And that should basically, fix the hardware virtualization problem which some of you guys may face while running the Mac OS on your PC. So that's it guys, hope you guys have really liked this video, and if you did, please do make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button which is found below this video. So that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
What's up guys, welcome to a very basic Final Cut 10 tutorial. If you're a more intermediate to advanced user, I do not recommend this. Maybe check out one of these videos instead. But if you are new to Final Cut 10, I think this is going to be perfect for you. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so here we have Final Cut newly opened. Now if this is your very first time opening the program, it'll look slightly different from what you're seeing here on your screen because I already have libraries loaded, and that's these things over here on the left side of the screen. We're going to talk about those in just a second. But I think the first thing most people want to do when they open up Final Cut is actually load in footage. So let's just begin with that. And to do that, you need to make what's called an event. So I'm going to go to File, New Event, or I can simply right click and select New Event. Or if you're a super cool shortcut key ninja, you can use Option N. And that brings up this dialog box where you can name the event. It defaults to a date, but of course you can name it whatever you want to name it. And then you see the library where that event's going to be created. Now mine is YouTube videos, but if you've never made a library before, this will say Macintosh HD right here. And all that you need to understand is that that's where the event is going to be stored. Next, it's time to start making some decisions about your video. Now, if you have no idea about things like frame rate and resolution, stuff like that, you can just leave this as set based on first clip, or you can really get in there and make a custom output for your video timeline. Now that we've created an event, let's go ahead and load some footage into it. To do that, you have a few options. You can use this down arrow icon. You can right click and insert media, or go up to the top and go to File, Import, Media. And that's going to bring up the media import window. Now from here, you can see all connected devices and drives on your computer, as well as any favorite locations that you might go to often. That's what you see in the column on the left. The video I'm going to make today is just a montage of Shannon playing with our dog. And you can see once I navigate to the location, I can click on a clip that tells me all the metadata information, and I can actually scrub through it and make sure that's the clip I want, and even import just portions of that clip. Since I don't want to load all these clips in the Final Cut, I'm going to select the top one, hold down Shift, select the bottom one, and then click the Import Selected button that you see at the bottom right. Now I'm going to have to make some more choices. These get a little more advanced if you really don't understand what's going on here. So I'm going to go through each individually. The top is just saying where it's going to add this footage to. So it's going to add it to the event that we already created. If we were doing this in a different order, we could make a new event right here. But really where things start to get confusing is down below. And if you're not used to file management, this can really give you kind of a headache. So Final Cut gives you two options. It'll copy the files to the library, meaning that it will take all your footage, all that information, and store it within a library file and organize it for you, or it will leave the files in place. So this is really where you have to decide what kind of workflow you like to use. If you want to manage all your own files and have your own special file system, maybe leave in place is your best option. If you just want to trust Final Cut to handle it, copy to library would be your best option. And I actually use both depending on the project. What's important to remember, if you choose leave files in place, then delete that original folder, then none of your video information will be in Final Cut anymore. So just be sure that you keep your originals if that's the option you choose. Next, transcoding. Final Cut gives you the option here to convert your media for you into something that's more suitable to editing. Most consumer cameras shoot with H.264, AVC HD, or some kind of consumer codec like that, which isn't actually the best thing for editing. So what Final Cut allows you to do here is automatically turn your footage into optimized media, which is ProRes 422, or proxy media, which is ProRes 422 proxy. The only time I would recommend not creating optimized media is if you were really concerned about the current storage space on your computer, because optimized media is actually a separate copy of your original clips that's going to take up a lot more space. Now you can actually always go back and delete that optimized media and retranscode it at some point. But to begin with, if you're really worried about space, don't select it and just edit with your raw footage. If you're not worried about space, in most situations, create that optimized media. And with that, we've kind of gotten out of the way all the hard technical stuff about Final Cut editing, and now we can actually get down to the fun part, and that is making a video. So here we have our footage imported, and this is located in what is called the browser, which is where all your clips are, as well as your project files. And we can view this in a couple different ways. If you click this button down here, you see you can get a list view, which looks like your media import view, and from that you can click on different clips and scrub through it. I think for most people, they're probably just going to use that thumbnail view because it's much easier to see what the clip is right away. So let's actually start this dang edit here. And the first thing you need to do is select what portion of your clips you want to load into your timeline, or what Final Cut 10 calls the storyline. You can see I can scroll through the clips just by scrubbing with the mouse, or I can use the space bar to actually play them. Now you can set in and out points by moving this yellow box around the clip, or using the I and O key. To bring it into the storyline, I can click and drag. I can use these buttons right here, or once again, for you shortcut key ninjas, E is the shortcut key. And I can play that, and now it's showing my timeline play through the viewer, which is the large screen that actually shows whatever selected. Now this is where it can get confusing if you're coming from Final Cut 7 or from Premiere, is that it's not a 2-up style edit system with a viewer and a browser and a canvas. It just has one screen, and wherever you actually select it, that's what you're seeing. There is an option for typical 2-up style editing, but I don't think most people are using that if they're a beginner. So to continue with your edit, it's simply a matter of clicking and dropping or using those shortcut I, O, and E keys to put clips into your storyline. You notice our storyline is actually kind of compacted and small and has a lot of wasted space. Well, it's easy to make it actually fit the screen. You can use the little slider down here at the bottom, or what I always use is just Shift Z, which makes the current edit fill out the window. Of course, you can't be expected to get your edits exactly right on the first pass, so that's where you can refine the edits within the storyline. So if I select on a clip, I can actually go in between it where the actual edit point is, and if I click and drag here, you see it changes those original in and out points, so I can really get the refined exact edit that I want. Once I have a good assembly edit down, now it's time to start thinking about the sound. Now the sound is automatically tied in with your clips, and you can see by clicking the little line above the actual waves of it, I can adjust the volume. Obviously you're not tied to only using sounds that you record in camera. To insert either sound effects or music or anything like that, use this little music note over here, and once you click that, you can actually see all the preloaded sound effects and things on your computer, and of course you can load more in or load in things from your iTunes library. And since this is a video of a dog, I think I'm going to insert some dog noises. To do that, I find the sound that I want. I can preview it by double clicking or hitting the play button, and then I just click it and drag it in. This is a perfect time to talk about something that sets Final Cut 10 apart from Premiere or Final Cut 7, and that is the idea of the magnetic timeline and connected clips. See, there's a little line connecting my sound effect to the clip I put underneath. Now, because the clip is the primary storyline element, if I click it and drag it around, that sound effect is going to come with it. And this would work if I had other videos tied to this or titles or anything like that. And you can see as I move it around, it adjusts all the other clips around it to avoid things like clip collisions that you would get in a more traditional NLE. Final Cut 10 has a lot of built-in looks and effects, so let's talk about those briefly. If you click the effects button, which is the first in that row right there, you see you have a whole list that pops up. And just for example, in this video, we're going to go to the looks and we're going to select teal and orange, which is a really popular color grading style that was popularized by Michael Bay in the Transformers movies. So if you want your home video dog movies to look exactly like Transformers, this is basically all you have to do. Like, you don't really need CGI or billions of dollars or anything like that. All you need, teal and orange plugin. And with the inspector open, which is the button that looks like little sliders, you can actually go and make fine-tune adjustments to any effect that you apply, and you can of course apply multiple effects here as well. And if you love the effect that you fine-tune, you can paste it onto other clips by using Shift-Command-V and then selecting the effect. And the very last thing we'll talk about before we export this thing is adding titles. Now once again, we're going to select a menu over here from the right side. The title menu is the giant T. That probably makes a lot of sense. Then select the type of text that we want and click and drag it over. Now here's what's important, is that it needs to be on top of the video, because you can think of this almost as like Photoshop layers. If we drag it and put it underneath, it's not going to show up. So we make it on the top, and then once again in the inspector, we can fine tune it and make it exactly how we want. Once we've spent hours of love and devotion and time to color grade and add in sound effects and music and titles, now it's time to share our masterpiece with the world. And you do that through the share menu, and it uses the standard OS X share icon, which is the little arrow through the box, or of course you can do it from the file menu as well. Your options here might look a little different than mine, and that's because I've customized mine by hitting add destination, and you can click and drag and add in exactly the things that you use the most, whether it's directly going to YouTube or just saving still images of a frame. If you use one of the presets, Final Cut kind of takes care of all the necessary transcoding for you, so you don't really have to think about it too much. Where you do have to think though, if you just want to save a copy of the video onto your computer, and that's with the master file setting. Once you select master file, you can select your file name, which is easy enough, but then after that, that's where things get a little more complicated. Before hitting next, always check the settings. Now this is key. I get a lot of questions saying, hey, my Final Cut project sizes are huge. What's going on here? And it's probably because they're exporting it in a format that isn't conducive to small file sizes. H.264 is 9 times out of 10 what you want. But you can use higher quality formats as well. But that will of course have the effect of making those large file sizes. So for example, when I go to ProRes 422, our file sizes goes from 30 megabytes to 250. If I go to ProRes 4444, it goes to 823 megabytes. And if I get real crazy and go uncompressed, our 16-second video goes to 2 gigabytes. Once you have all that squared away, simply hit next, choose where you want the file to save, and your video is exporting. This will trip people up as well if you're coming from Final Cut 7 or Premiere, and that is you can actually keep working as your video exports, because all that happens in the background. If we click the little progress bar here, it brings up this menu so we can see that all that stuff is still going on while we can still make changes or work on other projects. Once that's complete, our masterpiece is ready to be shared with the world or stored for posterity. So that is Final Cut 10 for beginners. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know. As always, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.